Hey guys, in today's class, we'll be talking about one of the most powerful strategies that can help you trade spot, futures, and forex markets just very easy, whether you're a beginner or a professional. Now, you can be a professional trader, all right, if you pay attention to details. And I want you to go through this video so you can understand how to trade completely by yourself with this amazing strategy, all right. Today we'll be talking about EMA crossovers. I know a lot of us must have heard about EMA crossovers. It's so easy and simple. Now we're going to be using the 20 EMA, we'll be using the 50 EMA, and of course the last step is that we'll be looking out for confirmations. All right. Now this is all we'll be needing: the 20 EMA, the 50 EMA, and then we'll look out for confirmations. Now the strategy is so simple. All right. Whenever the 20 EMA crosses over, whenever this blue line crosses over the yellow line, then would enter a trade in the upwards direction, which means an uptrend. Whenever the blue line, this is the strategy here, whenever the blue line crosses over the yellow line, okay, from down to up, it means an uptrend. All right. Now this has been seen so many places. All right. Now uptrend again here. Whenever this blue line crosses over the yellow line, it is regarded as an uptrend. All right. So what we are going to be looking out for in this strategy is anywhere we find that the blue line, this blue line you find here, the blue line cross over this yellow line from down to up, like crossing it over like this. You can see this place I marked. Then we can enter an uptrend, because here you can see the price started going up. In the other example, we can see after the blue line has crossed over, you can see the price started going up. Now the last one is a downtrend. Whenever the same blue line crosses over the yellow line from up to down, then there is likely going to be a downtrend. All right. But that is not all you need. All right. Because there's what is called false signal. A blue line can cross over for an uptrend and would not go up. All right. Or it might take out your stop loss. So there's what they call false signal. And I'll be teaching you how to understand and confirm a signal that it is the right time to enter a trade. All right. I'll be giving you some examples of some candlesticks that you'll be looking out for. All right. So let's get straight to the first one. Now, we are going to be looking out for this: a full green candle after it has crossed for an uptrend. This is for uptrend now. All right. When we get an uptrend signal, just like this, whenever we get an uptrend signal, just like this, all right, now we're not going to enter immediately. We're going to be looking out for one of these signs. The first sign we'll be looking out for is the next full green candle. Sorry, this means full green candle bigger and covering the last three, which means it must be so big like this, and it must be able to cover the last three. One, two, three. These are the last three candles. One, two, three. So we're looking for a full big candle like this that can cover the last three. One, two, three. Which means this candle, once it has crossed for an uptrend, look out for any candle that is so big and bigger than the last three. All right. Now I know so many people want to understand what this means. I'm going to help you explain it in the next slide. All right. So once we see a sign for uptrend, look out for a candle that's so big that can cover the last three. Okay. Now when we see that sign, we can enter into an uptrend. Now another sign we are going to check out for is a candle, a green candle that has its lower wick, whose lower wick is longer than the last three. You can see a green candlestick whose lower wick is longer than the last 3 weeks, which means this is the candle. After you have seen the sign for an uptrend, when the blue line crosses the yellow line, you will look out for the next green candle. And if that candle's last the wick is longer than the last three, which means you can see this is the wick. This thing down here is called the wick, and it is longer than this one, longer than this one, and longer than this one. Okay, it must be a green candle, and the wick must be longer than the last 3 weeks, which means one, 2, 3. Then we can enter into an uptrend. It means that is a sign for an uptrend. All right. Now, you have to be very careful, tell yourself the truth, and make sure you check out for a week that is so long, longer than the last three. Now, what is the meaning of this week? People want to understand, why must the week be longer? Whenever you see a week, okay, that has a long lower end, okay, this lower week, not the upper week. A candlestick has two kind of weeks. You have the upper week and the lower week. Whenever the lower week is bigger, very long, it means that the buyers are pushing. More buyers want to enter the market. More, the support level is pushing, and of course buyers are pushing it from up. Okay, but when the higher week is longer like this, it means sellers are pushing down. Sellers are pushing down. So if you see a very long week, it means that the price might start coming down, and that's what we found here. All right. But when you see a very long week on the bottom side, it means that the price can start going up, and that is why we find here. So when you see, we are looking for a week whose lower week, a candle whose lower week, a green candle, okay, whose lower week is longer than the last 3 weeks, which means 1, 2, 3. So once you see an uptrend, you will check out for the next green candle. If its lower week is longer than the last three, which is, yes, is longer than the first one, longer than the second one, longer than the third one, we can enter into an uptrend. All right, we can enter into an uptrend. All right. Now I'm going to go to the next one. Now the last indicator, the last signal we're going to find to enter this trade is if the green candle has no upper week, has no upper week. It has no upper week, which means, you can see I told you that a candle can have an upper week or a lower week. Now, when the green candle has no upper week, you can see no upper week, we regard it as a sign to enter the trade. So what I've just said is that, guys, you'll be looking out for where you check out for the crossovers, check out for an uptrend. Once you see the blue line crossing over the yellow line, then we'll check out for any of these signals. Either this one that I told you first, a full green candle covering the last three completely, or we'll check out for this one, a green candle whose lower week is longer than the last three candles, okay, and the last one, a bold candlestick that has no upper wick. This one has no upper wick, which means there is nothing like this, no upper wick. It must be green, guys. All this candlestick must be green. Now this is for only uptrends. Downtrend, I would have another class for downtrends. All right. Now, all of these signs are very, very powerful, and the most powerful of them, which is the one we are going to be using, is this one. So we're going to pay attention to any candlestick that is lower week, any green candlestick that is lower week is longer than the last three, which is longer than this one, longer than this one, and longer than this one. So guys, let's get into our trading view chart and let's do this practically. Now don't forget the rules. Okay, so here is trading view, and of course you can select any chart you want, whether you're using, whether you're trading futures, sports, forex, any market at all. All right. Now, first things first, I'm going to close of course, you come to indicators and find your EMA. Okay, your EMA. Once you come to indicators, just look for um moving average exponential. Type it here. Once you have typed it, it's going to come up here. Okay, you can come to the settings, and of course on the settings, this is your 20 EMA, which is for the yellow one. Okay, you can put the style, okay, which is for the blue one, sorry. So the blue one should be 20, the yellow one is the 50 EMA. So come to this 50 EMA, change the input, put here as 50, change it from 9 to 50, and then click on OK. Okay, the first one, change it from 9 to 20, second one, change it from 9 to 50. This is what you find. So let's look out for an uptrend. Now, this is a place where we can find the first uptrend here, guys. So let's look out for any green candle after the uptrend, any green candle whose lower week is longer than the last 3 weeks. So I'm going to come here, and of course, let us zoom in. Let me zoom in, and let's do it together. So I'm going to zoom in. This is where this is where the breakout happened. Now a lot of people want to enter this because it's an uptrend sign, but let's look at for the candlestick whose lower wick is longer than the last 3 weeks. This one is not, this one is not, this one is not. You can see this one is not, this one is not, and it is already this stuff is already down. This one also is not, it's not longer than the last 3 weeks. So this would have saved you from this trouble. All right, I'm going to go back, I'm going to go down here, so which means we are not going to enter into this trade. And you can see we were lucky because as we entered, it would have dropped you to this point. All right, that is one of the advantages of this you know signal. Now the next uptrend we found is here. This was another sign to enter. So let's look out for perfect signs that we could have entered that could have given us this trade. So let me zoom in again. So this was where we found an uptrend. You can see this was where the uptrend happened. All right. So the question is, could we have entered into the trade? Now let's look out for green candle whose lower wick is longer than the last 3 lower wicks. No, no, you can see we are still looking out for no, no, they are all small candles, so we're not using them. No, no. So this whole thing would have saved you. But here, yes, we got something. Remember, I told you that the lower week must be longer than the last 3 weeks. This guy's lower week is longer than this one, and this one. Apart from that, this is also a candle that has no upper week, which was one of the strategies I gave you. Remember, I told you something. I gave you something like this. The candle must have no upper week. The candle must have no upper wick. I gave you a sign that the candle must have no upper wick like this, no upper wick just like this. All right, so this is a good sign to have entered into that trade. All right, so let's go back and continue from here. So this particular candle is a very similar one to what I've just shown you, and it has no upper wick, so we are going to enter into this trade. All right, and guys, as when we have entered into this trade from this point, this is where we found that signal, would have gotten into a lot of profits here, and of course taking as much profit as possible. Now people want to ask, when can you sell? Of course, I believe for me, I have different strategies of selling. Different people have their strategies of selling, so you can determine where or when you want to sell. All right, and I believe for me, I sell when I find a large red candlestick bigger than the last 3. Okay, so 1 2 3 is not, this one is not bigger, so obviously I would have sold at somewhere here because this is the only red candlestick that was bigger than the last 3. Okay, you can see 1 2 3 all combined. So let's get straight to another uptrend and see if we would have entered into this place. Now this was another uptrend. Let's find if we have a signal. So here we found an uptrend. Let's see what happens here. So you must have noticed it here, and this was not a sign. This was not a sign. You can see, okay, this is a sign. I'm going to zoom in, guys. I'm going to zoom in because a lot of people want to see what I'm doing. So this was where we found the uptrend, and you must have found it here. So this guy has this guy's lower wick is not, it doesn't even have a lower wick. This guy lower wick is long, but we are not sure if he's longer than this one, and this one. So this is the only person that has a wick longer than 1 2 3. You can see, all right. This guy also has a wick longer than 1 2 3. So maybe you must have entered the trade at this point, okay, and we'll have an uptrend here. Okay, you can buy at the price of 132 and would have gotten to as much as 135. Remember, I told you you can sell at this point when the red candle is bigger than the last 3, 1 2 3. You can see you can see how everything turns out. Okay, so you must have entered somewhere here and sold at somewhere here. Okay, entered somewhere here, and because this guy's candlestick, this guy's lower wick is longer than the last 3. All right, and you'd have sold at somewhere here when you found this large bold red candle bigger than the last 3 candles. All right, that is, you can determine when you want to sell, but this is where I would love to sell from experience. All right, now let's get straight to another uptrend, guys. I hope you're enjoying this. Please give this video a like so a lot of people can find it and you can trade EMA crossovers by yourself. All right, now here's another one. There is another place where you find the huge crossover, and let's look out for signs. Okay, And the first sign here, let me zoom in. So this is where we found that crossover. Now let's check out for the lower wicks. Okay, this week here is longer than this one, and this one, but it is a very small candle, so we might not really respect this candle. All right, so we are going to respect this particular candle because if this candle's week, lower week, is longer than one, two, three combined, so we would have entered a trade here, and this is what we would have gotten into. Now I'm going to zoom out and show you where we would have entered the trade. So we would have entered the trade here, and this would have gotten us to I think here, because I told you I prefer selling at a big red candle bigger than the last three candles. All right. So guys, you can go try this strategy on your spot trading, futures trading. Okay, I've not showed you how to use futures. What I'm showing you is only I'm not showing you how to use uh shorts on futures when it comes to downwards. But you can use this strategy to long on futures. You can also use it to long on buy and hold for sports, for day trading also. And I'm using a 1 hour time frame. You can use 4 hours. You can use any amount. Okay. So here is another sign. I know many people would have entered. This is what I regard as a false signal. There's another sign that we may have entered into this trade, but let's check it out. Here's another sign. So this strategy I'm showing you can save you from a lot of stress. For example, let us zoom in. So if I zoom in, this is another sign that some people may have entered into this trade. But you can see one, this candlestick, this lower candle wick is no longer than these last three, like one, two, three. So we would have disregarded this sign completely, right? Because assuming you have followed it, you would have not entered a trade here, and there will not be a point. And you can see that I've saved you from all this stress. I'm going up very short and coming down. But if you have entered, you'd have grabbed some little profit. But this strategy would not have allowed you to enter into this trade, and it would have saved you a lot. Now, of course, this is another point where we have another sign. Let's see. Okay, the crossover started from here. So at this point, this was the crossover, and we are looking for a candle. This was where it crossed. We're looking for a green candle whose lower wick is longer than the last 3 weeks. So it would have saved you all through this drama, because I've not found any particular one, and all these ones are weak candles. They are too weak. Okay, we have not seen anyone, and guys would have entered into this place. And let me zoom in and show you something amazing. Okay, sorry we are taking too long. If you're enjoying this, you can leave a like on this video. All right, so this is the crossover, and you can see this is where we found the entry point, but we did not enter here. We're looking for a confirmation whose green candle is whose lower candle wick is longer than the last three. Green, and it must be green. So we did not find anything. Please, if you see something like this, don't obey this kind of green candle. It is so small. So guys would have entered into this particular one, because this is where the green candle lower wick was longer than the last three, one, two, three. All right. So would have entered into this point, and let's see what would have happened. I'm going to zoom out. So this was where we would have entered into this trade, and would have entered into this huge pump. And of course, I told you that you can sell when you find a red candlestick printing here longer than the last three candlestick, which is a good sign that you'd have sold at a high point of 178. All right, so guys, you can go back and use this strategy. This works so well for Bitcoin, any particular kind of trading, as long as you are doing long, short, and all of that. I've only taught you how to use the long form. All right, how to long cryptos. Okay, this is one of the best signals you can use to do your spot trading or futures trading, okay, for longing, because we're looking for uptrends. Now in another class, I can show you how to use this strategy to short cryptos. If you understand it, give this video a like, don't forget, and of course click on subscribe so a lot of people can actually find it. Now let's do one more. Now here is another place where we found a cross, and trust me, we would have not entered this trade because I don't see any sign here. I'm going to zoom in. You can see this would have not gotten us anything because it's just flat. But this was a crossover. Somebody would have entered this without confirmation. Now I'm going to open this map, and you can see this is where we found a crossover. Okay, this was where we found the crossover, and of course, there is no lower week longer than the last three. This one is no longer than the last three because this one is actually longer, is the longest here. Okay, so no one has a longer week. All right, this one is no longer than this one, so you must measure it completely. So it should have saved you from all of this drama, and we will not even enter into this trade. We will not have entered into this trade, and it would have helped you a lot to save a lot of money. So if you check out this particular one, you can see that this was a cross here, and let's look out for something where we would have entered. Okay, there was no entry point. Okay, there's an entry point here which is on this week. Okay, so would have entered this trade, and of course would have just enjoyed it a little bit until we find a sign to sell. This would have been where we would have said, because this was the first red mark that printed a large red candle bigger than the last three. So guys, you can enjoy this strategy anytime you like, and of course with whatever trade you like. This will be the last one we'll be talking about. Okay, let me look for a major uptrend here, so we can actually show you how you'd have entered into the trade. Okay, so this was a major uptrend, and of course, let's look out for where the uptrend happened. The uptrend started from here and would have not entered into this trade all through the while. Would have not even entered here, would have not entered here, would have not entered here. We are still going to be observing the market. But guys, would have entered here. Who can tell me why? I mentioned that we can enter a trade when we find a candlestick that has no upper wick. That has no upper wick. So would have entered here and would have gotten into this whole long profit, of course. And would have enjoyed all this whole thing, because this will be one of the largest places where you find the red candle is larger than the last three, and we can sell at this point. So I'm going to zoom into this. This will be the last one I will do for today. Then we'll call it a day. If you want more of this, you can see this candle has no upper wick, or very tiny upper wick, and we are going to disregard the upper wick completely. Okay, so this will be the end of this class, guys, and of course I would like to see you on another one. Do have a very wonderful day, and certainly we're going to do everything it takes to keep bringing you amazing crypto signals that can help you trade, and of course maximize your profit in a very good way. See you on another one, guys, and of course do have a very wonderful day.